The bridge on Larkspur Hollow Road was never supposed to belong to anyone but my family. My grandfather built it in 1955 with his own crew across the creek that split our land from what eventually became the Larkspur Hollow subdivision. And when the developers came knocking in the 90s, he sold them the land but kept the bridge easement in his name on paper in the county records permanent. My father maintained it. I maintained it. 340 homes crossed that bridge every single day to get to work, to school, to the highway, and none of them ever thought about who owned the concrete under their tires. Because why would they? It was just there. It was just mine. I never charged anyone a cent until the repairs got expensive. The deck was cracking, the guardrails were rusting through, and a county inspector told me flat out that if I didn't fix it within the year, he'd condemn it, and everyone in Larkspur Hollow would be adding 40 minutes to their commute on the old mountain road. So I proposed a toll, $2 a car, automatic pass system, all of it going straight into an escrow account for repairs, publicly auditable, nothing hidden. The HOA board approved it in writing. Every homeowner signed off except one. Barb Vance had been HOA president for 16 years, and in that time she developed a talent for making other people's problems her personal battlefield. She showed up at my property line the week the toll booth went in driving a golf cart with a clipboard on the passenger seat, telling me the bridge was a shared community resource, and that I had no legal standing to charge for it. I showed her the deed. She told me deeds could be challenged. 2 days later, without a permit, without a single conversation with the county, she had her son-in-law and 2 guys from the HOA landscaping crew drag a set of orange concrete barriers across the north end of my bridge, blocking the toll lane entirely, rerouting every car through a gap in the fence that let them cross for free. I want to say I handled it calmly. I did not. I called the county the same afternoon, filed a police report for trespassing and property interference, and within a week I had a court date. What I didn't expect was that Barb would show up to that hearing with 11 notarized statements from other homeowners claiming they'd never actually agreed to the toll increase, that the HOA vote had been misrepresented, that I was exploiting a public necessity for personal profit. The judge, unimpressed by both sides, told us to work it out privately before he'd rule on anything, which is the legal system's way of saying good luck. So, I did the only thing left. I had the toll booth reinforced, installed a second gate on the far side blocking the free bypass gap Barb's crew had cut, and closed the bridge to all traffic for 48 hours, while I brought in a private security firm to hold the line. No tolls being collected during that window. No one crossing at all. I wanted the entire subdivision to feel exactly what losing that bridge meant because apparently a $2 toll had been too abstract a consequence for Barb to understand. What I hadn't planned on was Mrs. Alvarez. She lived 4 houses past Barb's, 81 years old, on oxygen, with a standing Tuesday dialysis appointment 40 minutes away by the mountain road, and 12 minutes away across my bridge. On day 1 of the closure, her daughter called me screaming, and I felt something in my chest go cold because I realized I'd built a weapon and pointed it at the wrong people. I reopened a single emergency lane within the hour, drove Mrs. Alvarez across myself, and sat in that dialysis waiting room turning over exactly how badly I'd let this get out of my hands. That's when the second thread of the story cracked open because while I was sitting there, Mrs. Alvarez's daughter, a woman named Priya who used to work in municipal finance, mentioned something almost in passing. She said she'd tried to look HOA's toll escrow account 2 years back, when Barb first floated the idea of a community maintenance fee for the bridge before I ever built the toll booth, and the numbers never added up. I asked her what she meant. She said Barb had been collecting a voluntary bridge preservation fee from homeowners since 1990, nearly $600 a year from every household that opted in, 340 homes, most of them paying, and none of that money had ever gone toward a single repair, not one. The bridge had been falling apart the entire time because there was never any actual fund. There was just Barb and a homeowners association bank account with her name as sole signatory. I didn't confront her right away. Instead, I asked Priya to help me file a formal records request through the county, the same one Barb had failed to intimidate me out of pursuing months earlier. It took 6 weeks. When the statements came back, they showed over $400,000 collected under that preservation fee since 1919, and less than $11,000 of it ever spent on anything bridge-related. The rest had funded a kitchen renovation, 2 family vacations disguised as board retreats, and a leased Lexus reimbursed monthly as a site inspection vehicle. I didn't take her to court. I took the documents to a town hall meeting instead. The one Barb herself had called to demand my toll be permanently banned. And I stood up during the public comment period and read the numbers out loud in front of every homeowner she'd been quietly billing for 6 years. The room went silent in a way I'd never heard a room go silent before. Nobody yelled. Nobody clapped. People just started doing math in their heads about how much they'd personally handed her. The HOA board removed her that night in an emergency vote, unanimous, including the 2 members who'd helped her block my bridge. But the county prosecutor, once he had the documents, wasn't interested in a slap on the wrist for embezzlement of that size. And here's where it stopped looking anything like the ending anyone expected. Instead of jail time, which her lawyer actually seemed to want as the cleaner outcome, the judge accepted a restitution agreement that Barb herself hadn't seen coming. Full repayment of the misused funds structured over 4 years, garnished directly from her income, and as a condition of avoiding a fraud conviction on her record, 5 years of unpaid court-monitored service as the bridge's toll collector. Every day, sitting in the very booth Barb once tried to have bulldozed, taking $2 from every car, logging every cent into the account she used to control, under camera supervision, answerable to the very homeowners she'd been quietly draining for years. I still own the bridge. The toll still runs, fully funded now, guardrails replaced, deck resurfaced last spring. And most mornings when I drive across on my way out, I see her there in that little booth, waving cars through, counting change, doing the job she once called beneath a woman of her standing, for a community that hasn't forgotten a single dollar.